When I and my fiancé moved into their new house, we quickly learned the neighborhood routine. Our neighbor Paul seemed quiet but nice, a single man in his 40s who always had his Christmas lights up. I noticed one night that Paul's lights were flickering erratically. I thought maybe he was having electrical problems. I asked Paul if he was okay, since he hadn't been seen in several days. He said he was just under the weather. That night, as I approached Paul's house to check on the lights, there was a disturbing scream inside, a child's voice, though Paul had no kids. I called the police, suspecting something was terribly wrong. When the police arrived, they discovered a kidnapped boy locked in Paul's basement. The boy had been missing for days, and his cleverness had led him to flicker the Christmas lights as a distress signal, hoping to draw help. The boy was saved, and Paul was arrested for his crime. That Christmas changed everything, reminding us that evil could lurk behind festive lights and friendly facades.
I was home alone one December weekend, spending time with my girlfriend Jenny. She said she loved Christmas movies, so we ate, drank, and watched our favorites by the tree. I ran out to get more wine at the store, getting stuck chatting with the cashier as usual, when Jenny called me, her voice trembling with fear. She said she'd heard noises from beneath the living room, possibly the crawl space. I tried to assure her, but she asked me to stay on the phone until I got back. When I arrived home, I checked the crawl space with a flashlight. The smell was awful, but I saw nothing. Later, while watching Elf, we both heard a loud thud from the crawl space. Armed with a flashlight, I checked again but saw nothing, just smelled stale urine. I asked my parents to call pest control in the morning. Maybe an animal had snuck in. We tried to relax, but in the middle of the night, I woke up desperate to pee, head throbbing. As I opened the bedroom door, I saw a silhouette at the end of the hall. I locked the door, heart racing, as footsteps approached. He said a deep voice called, "Hello," sending Jenny into a panic. We called 911. The police found nothing, but the crawl space reeked. A puddle of urine suggested someone had lived there for days. My family was skeptical, but I never forgot to lock the doors after that night, haunted by the horror lurking just out of sight. I can still recall the autumn morning when my 13-year-old self first tasted the famed pumpkin spice latte. My dad decided to stop by the local Starbucks before dropping me off at school, and the instant we walked in, a vibrant display caught my eye. The advertisement enveloped the cafe in an aura of warmth, an elegant mug, light and inviting, sitting on a rustic wooden table covered with delicate autumn leaves and little pumpkins. The creamy foam glistened under the lights, swirled with caramel hues, and topped with a whimsical sprinkle of nutmeg. Something about that image beckoned me, and for the first time, I didn't order my usual caramel macchiato. Instead, I asked for the pumpkin spice latte advertised so joyfully. As my dad and I settled in to wait, he sipping his customary black coffee, I couldn't sit still. The aroma in the shop was different, blending the deep notes of coffee beans with the tantalizing scent of nutmeg and cinnamon. It wrapped around me, promising comfort and novelty. When my order was ready, the barista greeted me by name, and I walked eagerly to the counter. Dad teased me about my excitement, calling me his little princess, which only made me giggle. I accepted the steaming latte and gazed at its foamy top, studded with shiny flecks of spice. As I inhaled the sweet steam, I felt as if I'd been hugged by a memory, a sense of belonging that was almost magical. The first sip was nothing short of extraordinary, a warmth blossoming in my chest that made me believe anything was possible.
That day began a new tradition. Before school, Dad and I would stop for a pumpkin spice latte. My delight never faded. Each cup was special. As the colors of the season shifted from fiery reds to mellow browns, and the year drifted toward winter, that simple drink brought an unexpected brightness to my days. I hadn't realized happiness could be so effortless. But then, the world tilted. On December 1st, when Dad and I arrived at Starbucks, the barista told us the pumpkin spice latte was no longer available, saying it would return next fall. I mutely returned to my old favorite, but the magic was gone. The days blurred into cold grayness, my spirits dimmed, and Dad noticed with concern. He tried to comfort me, but we both knew there was nothing to be done. When Christmas arrived, I could barely summon excitement. Our tradition, Dad waking me in the morning, remained, but the sparkle of the holiday felt lost. Downstairs, beneath the tree, sat a single present in green wrapping. I opened it with trembling hands to reveal a familiar autumn-themed Starbucks mug, the same mug from the poster that changed my life. I looked to Dad confused, but his eyes were gentle and encouraging.
He led me to the kitchen and down to the cellar, where a delectable scent greeted me, instantly reviving my senses. At Dad's suggestion, I hurried down the steps, heart pounding with hope. There, at a makeshift coffee bar, stood a new espresso machine, and beside it, the old barista from Starbucks, smiling warmly. "Go ahead and order anything you like," Dad said. My voice wavered as I asked for a pumpkin spice latte, but the barista nodded, skillfully preparing the drink. He steamed the milk, poured the espresso, crowned the mug with creamy foam, and finished with a sprinkle of pumpkin spice. When he handed it to me, I felt the world come back into color. Dad promised me I could have that comforting drink every morning now. He wrapped me in a gentle embrace, assuring me that as long as he was there, I'd always have what I needed. The warmth in my hands and in my heart told me everything would be just fine.
Sarah's a single mother living with her little boy Mark in a quiet neighborhood, her house passed down from her grandparents. She said that Christmas was always special for them, filled with shopping trips and visits to the mall. She remembered Mark laughing and chattering about what he hoped Santa might bring.
He said he wanted a Nintendo Switch.
She recalled, smiling at his innocence. One day, after leaving the mall, they bumped into a mall Santa outside. He waved, greeted Mark, and crouched down to ask him what he wanted for Christmas. Mark told him about the Nintendo Switch, and the Santa laughed, promising him magic if he was good. Sarah said they should get going, but the Santa lingered, complimenting her and joking with Mark. His jokes turned uncomfortable when he asked if we'd heard the song, "I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus," then leaned in for a kiss. She turned away quickly, uneasy. Later that evening, when they were safe at home watching a movie, the doorbell rang. She asked.
Who is it?
A man's voice replied, "It's Santa." Her heart dropped. The man said he wanted to return something she dropped, but she knew she hadn't lost anything. She said she told him to leave or she'd call the cops. She called the mall office. They said no official Santas worked there. That man had no business being in costume. Later, Sarah heard a man yelling, "Ho, ho, ho," outside the house. She called the police and told Mark to keep watching the movie. The police took a report and left, but anxiety lingered. A few nights later, Sarah heard the doorbell ring again while Mark was asleep. She didn't go downstairs. The next day, she found a note taped to the door. It was from the man. He said he hadn't meant to scare her, claimed he'd felt a connection, and left his number. I gave the note to the police, and they said he'd never contact us again. She said she never saw that Santa again and hopes Mark won't remember that chilling holiday visit.
John said his family had just moved to a new house, and Christmas Eve was always filled with excitement. He was about 6 years old, wrapped in anticipation, playing video games late into the night. When he snuck out to the bathroom, he heard the Christmas tree rustling downstairs. He tiptoed down the stairs, believing maybe Santa had arrived. Peeking into the living room, he saw a dark figure crouched behind the tree, a flashlight gleaming. He said he saw only legs and a black bag on the floor. The stranger stood, put a finger to his lips, and whispered, "Yes, I'm Santa." John screamed as loud as he could. He said that brought his parents running. The man bolted out the front door, dropping a bag of their ornaments and gifts he'd intended to steal. John said his memory got fuzzy then, but his dad told him later that the man had broken in by prying open the back door with a crowbar. Other nearby houses had also been robbed. His dad went out, ready to confront the thief, but the man was gone. He said half the ornaments were ruined, memories turned into trauma. To this day, he remembers the shushing stranger and the feeling of dread that haunted his childhood Christmas. It was Christmas Eve, and I was 14, a restless kid with a stubborn streak. The snow blanketed everything, but that didn't stop me from wanting to ride my horse. The stables lay about a mile from home. I was used to trudging up and down that stretch, comforted by the cold and the company of my horse. I finished my ride and tied my horse to the porch, as always. Just as I was preparing to return him, a friend appeared along the road, and I let her hop up to ride double for a bit. Dropping her off at her house, I let my horse break into a run. He loved the snow as much as I did. On our way back, we spotted my friend's sister, and, intending to offer her a ride, I steered toward her. That's when things spun out of control. My horse bolted, ignoring my desperate tugs on the reins. Panic grew as we barreled down the driveway and straight for the busy road. I yanked so hard I was standing in the stirrups, but he never slowed down. Cars whizzed through the intersection. My horse leapt, hitting the broad hood of a brand new Ford LTD. Those old cars were as massive as boats back then. I was thrown clear, crashing onto the icy road. My winter coat and double layers of jeans shielded me from road rash, and though my left wrist was crushed, I was alive. My horse, tough as ever, managed a somersault and came to a sliding stop, mostly unscathed except for scrapes on his rump. A policeman at the intersection rushed over, only to realize the ambulance crew was out to lunch. He drove me to the ambulance driver's house, and I waited with their kids, awkward and sore, until help arrived. No ghosts, no miracles, just a teenage Christmas marked by luck, resilience, and a wild ride I wouldn't soon forget.
Now remember, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Then subscribe for more horrifying true stories.